The stars looked cold through the station window. Jake Miller pressed his hand against the glass, watching the council ship's engines fade into darkness. After 10 years, it was over. The Galactic Council had thrown humanity out like yesterday's garbage. They really did it, Jake whispered. Behind him, Lisa Carter slammed her datapad on the metal table. The sound echoed through the empty conference room. This is wrong. We followed every rule. We met every requirement. Doesn't matter now, Sam Johnson said from the doorway. His military uniform looked sharp, but his face showed defeat. They made their choice. 3 hours ago, Ambassador Zektar had delivered the news. The other species had voted. Humans were too dangerous, too unpredictable. The Council couldn't risk keeping them as members. Earth and its colonies would lose all protection. No more technology sharing. No more trade agreements. Nothing. We saved them, Lisa shouted. When the Vrak invaded Beta Centauri, human ships were first to respond. We lost 300 good people defending their worlds. They don't care about that, Amy Rodriguez said, entering the room with her science team. Look at this. She activated a hologram showing voting records. 23 species voted against us. Only 5 supported humanity. Jake studied the list. The peaceful Quellans, the logical Zentari, the warrior Korthax all had voted for expulsion. Even species humanity had helped turn their backs. They're afraid of us, Amy continued. Our ships are faster than theirs. Our soldiers fight harder. We learn their technology quicker than they expected. Fear makes people do stupid things. The station alarm blinked yellow. Non-emergency evacuation. All Council technology had to be returned. No human could keep Council property. They're taking everything, Sam growled. Shields, weapons, medical equipment, they're leaving us defenseless. Not everything, Amy said quietly. Some things you can't take back. Knowledge stays in the mind. Lisa looked up. What do you mean? My team has been studying their technology for years. We understand how it works. We can build our own versions, maybe even better versions. That's illegal, Lisa said automatically. Then she laughed bitterly. But we're not Council members anymore, are we? A message came through the station communications. Jake read it aloud. All human personnel must evacuate Unity Station within 48 hours. Any delay will be considered hostile action. Unity. Station, Sam spat. We built half of this place, human engineers, human workers. Now they kick us out of our own creation. Through the window, more Council ships appeared. Dozens of them, all armed. A show of force to make sure humans left quietly. Look at them, Jake said. They brought a whole fleet. For what? To watch us pack our bags? They want to humiliate us, Lisa said. Show the galaxy that humans are weak. Amy's communicator buzzed. She read the message and her face went pale. It's worse than we thought. They're cutting all trade routes to human space. Any ship doing business with Earth will lose Council privileges. They're trying to starve us out, Sam realized. Without trade, our colonies will suffer. People will die. The colony on Haven 7 has food for maybe 6 months, Jake added. Same with the mining stations in the asteroid belt. We need those supply runs. Lisa stood up suddenly. We need to contact Earth. President Carter has to know immediately. They worked through the night, sending messages to every human world. The response was always the same: anger, fear, determination. Humanity had been betrayed by those they called allies. On Earth, crowds gathered in every major city. The news spread like wildfire. Parents held their children closer. Soldiers checked their weapons. Scientists started planning. Back on Unity Station, Jake watched human ships arriving to evacuate their people. Cargo vessels, passenger liners, even old military cruisers pressed into service. Humanity was leaving Council space, but not in defeat. They think we'll crawl back begging, Sam said, standing beside Jake. They expect us to fail without their protection. Maybe we will fail, Jake replied. Maybe we'll prove them right. No, Amy said firmly. She had been quiet for hours, running calculations on her personal computer. We won't fail. We can't afford to. She showed them her data. Hidden in complex equations were designs for new technologies, things the Council had kept secret, things they thought humans were too primitive to understand. How did you get this? Lisa asked. By watching, by learning, by being smarter than they thought we were. Amy smiled coldly. They called us aggressive. They said we were too violent, but they never called us stupid. The evacuation continued through the next day. Humans packed equipment, downloaded data, rescued personal items. Some council members watched with satisfaction. Others seemed uncomfortable, maybe even regretful. As the last human transport prepared to leave, Jake took one final look at Unity Station. This place had been humanity's pride, their symbol of belonging among the stars. Now it would stand as a monument to betrayal. Captain Miller, the transport pilot called. We're ready to depart. Jake nodded and walked to the ship. Lisa, Sam, and Amy were already aboard. Together they watched Unity Station shrink in the viewport. What happens now? The pilot asked. Now we go home, Jake said. Then we decide our future. The transport joined a convoy of human ships heading for Earth. Behind them, council vessels maintained their threatening positions. The message was clear: don't come back. But in the ship's computers, in the minds of scientists and soldiers, in the hearts of 8 billion humans across the galaxy, another message was forming. The council had made their choice, now humanity would make theirs. As the convoy entered hyperspace, Jake noticed Amy working on her computer again. She was designing something new, something the council had never seen. The others were doing the same, planning, preparing, adapting. The council thought they had ended humanity's story among the stars. They were wrong. They had just written the first chapter of something new. Something powerful. Something the galaxy would never forget. Humanity had been abandoned. But abandoned children often grow up to be the strongest adults. The council would learn this lesson, whether they wanted to or not. The stars still looked cold through the viewport, but now they also looked full of possibility. Humanity was going home, but they would return, and when they did, the galaxy would never be the same. 2 weeks had passed since humanity's expulsion. The Grand Hall of Earth's Unity Complex was packed with representatives from every human colony. The air felt heavy with tension and anger. President Alex Carter stepped up to the podium. His face showed the stress of sleepless nights. Friends, we face the greatest challenge in human history. The Council has abandoned us. Now we must choose our path. Murmurs filled the hall. Some voices called for war. Others suggested trying diplomacy again. Most just wanted answers. Let me be clear, Alex continued. The Council expects us to fail. They believe we'll come crawling back begging for mercy. They think we're nothing without them. Then let's prove them wrong, shouted Governor Bill Taylor from Mars Colony. We don't need their charity. Alex raised his hand for silence. That's why we're here, to decide how we prove them wrong. Dr. Kate Williams walked to the center stage. The lead scientist looked tired but determined. My team has analyzed our situation. We have technology from our council years. We understand their science. But they've cut us off from updates and new developments. She activated a large hologram. It showed human space, Earth, the colonies, mining stations. Red zones marked areas now vulnerable without council protection. These are our weak points, Kate explained. Pirates and hostile species will target these areas. The council won't stop them. In fact, some council members might secretly encourage attacks. General Mike Davis joined her on stage. His military uniform bore the scars of many battles. Our forces are strong, but we're outnumbered. Council fleets have better weapons, better shields. In a straight fight, we lose. So we don't fight straight, called out Admiral Jane Foster from the back. Humans never have. We adapt. We improvise. Exactly, Mike nodded. But we need new weapons, new tactics, new technology. Kate switched the hologram. Now it showed classified research data. During our council membership, my team studied everything. Their weapons, their shields, their engines. We learned their secrets. That was illegal under council law, someone pointed out. We're not under council law anymore, Kate replied sharply. And thank goodness we broke those rules. We discovered something interesting. The council avoids certain technologies. Not because they can't build them, but because they're afraid of them. The hologram changed again. Complex equations filled the air. Most people couldn't understand them, but the scientists in the room leaned forward with interest. Gravity manipulation, Kate announced. The council considers it too dangerous. They have rules against weaponizing fundamental forces. But those rules don't apply to us now. Emma Thompson from the Colonial Administration stood up. What exactly are you proposing, Dr. Williams? I'm proposing we do what humans do best. We take risks. We push boundaries. We develop the weapons they're too scared to build. The hall erupted in discussion. Some supported the idea immediately. Others worried about the dangers. A few suggested trying to rejoin the council instead. Rejoin? General Davis scoffed. They made their position clear. We're outcasts, pariahs. The only thing they'll respect is strength. President Carter called for order. We need to vote. But first, let's hear all options. Senator Helen Brown proposed peaceful isolation. We focus on defending our space, build up our defenses, avoid confrontation, and slowly die, countered Jake Miller, recently returned from Unity Station. They've cut our trade routes. Our colonies need resources. Isolation means starvation. Dr. Paul Martin suggested limited cooperation. We could work with species outside the council, build new alliances. What species? Asked Amy Rodriguez. The council controls or influences everyone. Any species that helps us faces punishment. The debate continued for hours. Each idea had supporters and critics, but gradually one truth became clear. Passive acceptance meant slow death for humanity. Finally, President Carter called for the vote. The proposal is this. We pursue aggressive and technological development. We build weapons the council fears. We make ourselves too strong to ignore or attack. All in favor? Hands rose throughout the hall. The count was overwhelming. 847 for, 23 against. The motion passes, Alex announced. Humanity chooses power. The next hours were a blur of planning. Scientific teams were formed. Military strategies discussed. Resource allocation planned. Dr. Kate Williams took charge of the science division. We'll need hidden facilities, places the council can't monitor. The Kepler system, suggested astronomer Carl White. It's at the edge of our space. Lots of asteroids for cover. Natural interference blocks most sensors. Perfect, Kate agreed. We'll need teams for different projects. Weapons, shields, engines. Everything needs upgrading. General Davis organized the military response. We can't match their numbers, so we get creative. Guerrilla tactics in space, hit-and-run attacks, psychological warfare. What about spies? Asked Maria Lopez from intelligence. We need to know what the council is planning. Already on it, Mike replied. We have people on trade stations, border worlds, anywhere we can gather information. Emma Thompson handled logistics. We need to be self-sufficient. Every colony must increase food production. Mining operations expand immediately. No more depending on council trade. As plans solidified, the mood in the hall changed. Fear turned to determination. Doubt became resolve. Humanity had been pushed into a corner, and like a cornered animal, they were ready to fight. This won't be easy, President Carter warned. We're talking about years of hard work, sacrifice, danger. Some of us won't live to see the outcome. Better to die fighting than starve on our knees, called out Governor Taylor. The hall roared approval. By evening, the framework was complete. Secret research stations would be built. Military forces would train in new tactics. Every human would contribute to the effort. As the meeting ended, Jake Miller found himself standing with the other Unity Station evacuees. They had seen humanity's humiliation firsthand. Now they were part of the response. Think we can do it? Asked Lisa Carter. Do we have a choice? Jake replied. Amy Rodriguez smiled grimly. The council made a mistake. They united us. 8 billion. Humans all working toward one goal. They've never faced anything like that. Outside, the stars shone bright in the night sky. Somewhere out there, the council believed they had solved their human problem. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The decision was made. Humanity would not go quietly into the dark. They would rage against it. They would build weapons that made council fleets obsolete. They would become the power they needed to. The abandoned child was about to grow teeth, sharp ones. 5 years later, deep in the Kepler system, humanity's greatest secret thrived. The asteroid designated K7745 looked ordinary from space. Inside, it held the future of the human race. Dr. Tony Baker adjusted his safety goggles and studied the prototype. After thousands of failures, the gravity lance finally worked. The weapon could bend space itself, crushing enemy ships like tin cans. "Run the test again," Tony ordered his team. "Power output at 60%. The machine hummed to life. Energy. Readings climbed steadily. In the testing chamber, a solid block of council-grade armor sat waiting. Tony pressed the activation button. The air seemed to ripple. The armor block crumpled inward, folding like paper until it became a tiny sphere of ultra-dense metal. The whole process took 3 seconds, my God, whispered Assistant Scientist Frank Chen. "We actually did it." Tony allowed himself a small smile. "Log the results, then dismantle everything. Security inspection in 2 hours." This was how they worked. Build, test, hide. The council had spies everywhere, even among humans, some still believed rejoining the council was possible. They couldn't risk discovery. Across human space, similar scenes played out. On Titan II, engineer Grace Harris supervised the new shipyards. These facilities were buried deep underground, invisible to council sensors. "Hull integrity at maximum," reported technician Danny Park. "These ships can take hits that would vaporize council vessels." Grace examined the latest warship. It looked ugly compared to council designs. Thick armor, multiple redundant systems, weapons pods jutting out at odd angles. But it was built for one thing: winning. "Beautiful," Grace murmured, in her own way. The ship's name was painted on the hull: Vengeance. The first of humanity's new fleet. 20 more were under construction. "Engineering report, ma'am," Danny continued. "The gravity drives are working perfectly. We can jump farther than any council ship, and the stealth systems make us nearly invisible." Grace nodded. Every advancement represented years of work. Countless failures, dead ends. But humans were stubborn. They kept trying until something worked. On Earth's moon, Captain Dan Roberts trained the new generation of warriors. The soldiers moving through the zero-gravity course didn't look like traditional military. They were smaller, faster, more flexible. "Time!" Dan shouted. The squad finished the complex maneuver in half the expected time. They had learned to use artificial gravity fields as weapons, turning the enemy's advantages against them. "Good," Dan approved. "But in real combat, good isn't enough. Run it again, faster." The soldiers didn't complain. They knew what was at stake. Each trained like humanity's survival depended on them. Because it did, Lieutenant Tom White approached Dan. "Sir, the new recruits from Mars Colony have arrived. They're eager to start training." "Good. We need every fighter we can get." "How many?" 300, all volunteers. They lost family when pirates hit their transport last year. Dan's face hardened. The council had done nothing about those pirates. In fact, intelligence suggested some council members had hired them, keeping humans weak through constant harassment. "Train them hard," Dan said. "They'll get their chance for payback." Meanwhile, spy networks gathered crucial intelligence. Maria Lopez sat in her hidden office reviewing reports from across the galaxy. Her agents were everywhere: traders, merchants, even servants in council facilities. "The Korthax are planning another raid," her assistant Joe Turner reported. "Our sources say they'll hit the colony at Haven 7 next month." Maria smiled coldly. "Let them come. Captain Roberts has 3 squads stationed there. They're eager to test their new training." "Should we warn the colonists?" "No. Let the Korthax think they're surprising helpless humans. The shock will be educational. The intelligence network did more than gather information. They spread disinformation, making the Council believe humanity was weaker than reality. False reports of food shortages, equipment failures, internal conflicts, all carefully crafted lies. In the research labs, breakthrough followed breakthrough. Dr. Lucy Adams cracked the code for instant communication across any distance. Dr. George Kim developed shields that could withstand direct hits from Council dreadnoughts. But the gravity technology remained the crown jewel. Tony Baker's team pushed the boundaries further each month. Gravity lances, gravity shields, even theoretical gravity-based transportation. We're playing with forces the Council won't touch, Tony told his team. They're right to be afraid. This technology could destroy star systems, but it could also save humanity. The 5 years hadn't been without cost. Accidents happened. Good people died. The memorial wall in each facility grew longer. But nobody suggested stopping. President Alex Carter, now gray-haired from stress, received monthly updates. The reports showed incredible progress, but also the strain. Resources were running low. People were tired. How much longer? Alex asked Dr. Kate Williams during a secure video call. Another year for full deployment, Kate replied. Maybe 2, but we'll be ready for limited action within 6 months. The Council is getting suspicious. Their patrols near our borders have doubled. Let them patrol. They won't find anything. Our facilities are too well hidden. Alex rubbed his tired eyes. I hope you're right. Everything depends on maintaining secrecy until we're ready. On asteroid K7745, Tony Baker made another breakthrough. The gravity lance could now be miniaturized. Fighter-sized ships could carry weapons that could destroy battleships. This changes everything, Frank Chen said, studying the data. Our fighters will outgun their capital ships. Tony nodded, but remained focused. It's not enough to match them. We need to be so far ahead they can't catch up. Keep working. Across human space, the transformation continued. Miners dug deeper. Factories produced more. Scientists pushed harder. Soldiers trained longer. Everyone contributed to the goal. Children grew up knowing humanity had been betrayed. They studied harder, worked more, dreamed of the day humans would stand equal to those who had abandoned them. The anger of the first generation became the determination of the next. 5 years of sacrifice, 5 years of secrets, 5 years of building power in the shadows. The Council slept peacefully, believing humans were struggling just to survive. They had no idea what was coming. The abandoned child had grown in the darkness. Soon, it would step into the light, and when it did, the galaxy would tremble. The alert came at dawn. Admiral Ben Taylor read the intelligence report twice. A massive pirate fleet was gathering near the human colony of New Haven. 90 ships, all heavily armed. This wasn't a raid. It was an invasion. They're not even trying to hide, said Commander Eric Stone, studying the sensor data. They want us to see them coming. Ben nodded grimly. The Council is testing us. These pirates have Council-grade weapons. Someone wants to see how weak we've become. Orders, sir? Ben stood up. After 5 years of hiding their strength, the moment had finally arrived. Contact Earth. Tell them it's time. Then prepare the Ghost Fleet. The Ghost Fleet, humanity's secret armada. 25 warships hidden in the asteroid belt near New Haven. They had waited 5 years for this moment. Captain Doug Miller received the activation code aboard the Retribution. His crew had trained in darkness, maintaining radio silence, preparing for the day they would reveal themselves. All stations battle ready, Doug commanded. Charge gravity lances. Activate stealth systems. Today, we show them who we really are. On New Haven, Governor Patricia Lee evacuated civilians to underground shelters. The colonists moved with practiced efficiency. They had drilled for this day, knowing it would come eventually. Mom, are the bad aliens coming? Asked little Susan. Turner, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Her mother, teacher Jennifer Turner, hugged her close. Don't worry, sweetie. We have protectors now. Real protectors. In space, the pirate fleet approached with arrogant confidence. Their leader, a Korthax warrior named Vexitar, broadcast demands. Humans of New Haven, surrender your colony. Resist, and we will show no mercy. You have no council protection. You have no hope. The message played across human space. On Earth, President Alex Carter watched with his advisors. The moment of truth had arrived. "Sir," said General Mike Davis, "Admiral Taylor requests permission to engage with full force." Alex looked at the faces around him. 5 years of preparation came down to this. Permission granted. Show them what humanity has become. Back at New Haven, Admiral Taylor positioned his forces. The pirates expected to face a few old patrol ships, maybe some converted freighters. They were about to learn differently. "Ghost Fleet, drop stealth on my mark," Ben ordered. "Target their command ships first. Show no mercy, they wouldn't show us any." The pirates closed to attack range. Vextar laughed at the scared humans below. Then his sensors screamed warnings. "Commander, ships appearing from nowhere. 25. No, 27 contacts." "Impossible," Vextar roared. "Humans don't have cloaking technology." The human ships materialized from empty space. Not the sleek designs of council vessels, but angular armored monsters bristling with weapons pods. "All ships fire," Admiral Taylor commanded. The gravity lances struck first. Invisible beams of twisted space-time hit the pirate vessels. Council-grade shields, designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, were useless against fundamental force manipulation. The pirate flagship crumpled like a paper ball. 6 other ships followed in seconds, their hulls folding inward until nothing remained but compressed metal spheres. "What are these weapons?" Vextar screamed. His bridge shook as another ship exploded nearby. The human fighters swarmed next. Lieutenant Chris Anderson led Hammer Squadron into the enemy formation. Their small craft carried miniaturized gravity weapons, fighters with the firepower of battleships. "Hammer lead to all units," Chris called. "Remember your training, they expect council tactics, give them human chaos instead." The fighters struck from impossible angles. They used micro-jumps to appear inside enemy formations. They turned the pirates' own gravity fields against them. Council military doctrine had no response to such tactics. In 12 minutes, half the pirate fleet was gone. The rest tried to retreat, but human ships had already jumped behind them. There was no escape. On the colony below, civilians watched through shielded windows. Children pointed at the explosions in the sky. Adults wept with relief and pride. "Look, Mommy," Susan Turner exclaimed. "The protectors are winning." The council observation ship hidden at the system's edge transmitted everything. Ambassador Zekthon watched in horrified silence as humans demonstrated power beyond anything in council space. "Analysis complete," his science officer reported, voice shaking. "They're using weaponized gravity manipulation, technology we deemed too dangerous to develop. Impossible. Humans don't have the scientific capability. Sir, with respect, we're watching it happen. Their weapons ignore our shields. Their ships are faster than ours. Their tactics are unprecedented." The battle ended in less than an hour. 90 pirate ships reduced to scrap metal. Not a single human vessel seriously damaged. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. Admiral Taylor opened a channel to the surviving pirate ships. 3 had been deliberately spared. "Return to your masters. Tell them what you've seen. Tell them humanity is no longer weak." The pirates fled, jumping to hyperspace as soon as their drives charged. They carried footage of the battle, sensor data of impossible weapons, and stories of human power that would spread across the galaxy. On Earth, the leadership watched the battle recordings. Years of sacrifice had led to this moment. The demonstrations of their new might. "It's done," President Carter said quietly. "No going back now." Dr. Kate Williams nodded. "The Council will demand answers. They'll threaten us. Maybe even attack." "Let them try," General Davis growled. "We have 6 fleets ready to deploy. Let's see how they like being the weak ones." Ambassador Julie White prepared humanity's message to the Council. Not an apology or explanation, but terms. New terms for a new reality. The message was simple. The humans you abandoned no longer exist. We have evolved. We offer peace, but we're prepared for war. The choice is yours. Across human space, people celebrated. The fear was gone. The hiding was over. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage not as beggars but as powers. In council space, emergency sessions convened. Military advisors studied the battle data with growing alarm. Scientists tried to understand weapons that violated their understanding of physics. The warrior species like the Korthax urged immediate attack. The merchants worried about trade disruption. The peaceful species wondered if they had created a monster by casting humanity out. Only the Zentari, ever logical, stated the obvious truth. We miscalculated. The humans we exiled were not what we thought, and now they have returned as something far more dangerous. The demonstration was complete. The abandoned child had shown its new teeth. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the battle at New Haven. The galaxy watched humanity with new eyes, some fearful, others hopeful. In the council chambers, heated debates raged daily. Supreme Commander Zekthon of the Korthax pounded the table with his forearms. Strike now before the humans grow stronger. And face those gravity weapons? Asked Merchant Prince Valtor of the Quellans. You saw what happened to the pirates. 90 ships destroyed in minutes. The humans haven't attacked us, noted Elder Scientist Cortel of the Zentari. They've only defended themselves. Perhaps we misjudged them. The debates led nowhere. Fear paralyzed the council. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Smaller species, those bullied by the powerful, began reaching out to Earth. The first was the Yenti, a peaceful race oppressed by the Korthax for centuries. Their ambassador arrived at Earth's borders with a simple message: help us. President Alex Carter met with his advisors. They're asking for protection. If we help them, we'll anger the Korthax even more. The Korthax are already our enemies, General Mike Davis pointed out, and the Yenti have valuable mineral resources. It's not about resources, said Admiral Ben Taylor. It's about showing the galaxy who we really are. The decision came swiftly. Human ships jumped to Yenti space just as a Korthax punishment fleet arrived. The battle was brief. Gravity lances tore through Korthax dreadnoughts. Human fighters danced around heavier ships. When the smoke cleared, the Yenti were free for the first time in generations. Word spread quickly. The humans, the abandoned ones, had become liberators. More species reached out. The Melody, artists enslaved by the Mo, Fruck. The Killen, whose worlds were strip-mined by council corporations. Each time, human fleets responded. We're not building an empire, President Carter announced to human space. We're creating a community of equals, something the council never offered. Dr. Nancy Clark's research teams had moved beyond weapons. Gravity technology revolutionized everything. Instant transport across vast distances, energy generation that could power entire worlds, even matter creation from raw energy. We could share this, Nancy told the president. Help species develop, show them a better way. The Liberated Systems Alliance was born, not subjects under human rule, but partners in a new order. Each species contributed their strengths. The Yenti's minerals, the Melody's art, the Killen's agriculture. The council watched their influence shrink. Trade routes shifted to human space. Military alliances crumbled. The rigid hierarchy that had defined galactic civilization began to crack. Senior Counselor Veltak of the Elder Species finally spoke the words others feared. We face a choice. Adapt to this new reality, or become irrelevant. The turning point came when the Zentari, the Council's most respected scientists, formally requested to join the Human Alliance. Their logical minds saw the truth. Humanity offered progress while the Council offered stagnation. Ambassador John Parker signed the new Galactic Accord with representatives from 30 species. Not as conqueror, but as equal partner. The document, established principles the Council had never embraced: technological sharing, mutual defense, and species self-determination. "The old order is dead," John announced to the gathered delegates. "We build something better now." In the council chambers, emergency sessions tried to respond. But what could they do? Attack humanity and face those terrible weapons? Impose sanctions? That would only hurt themselves. "We created this," Elder Veltok said quietly. "We abandoned them, made them outcasts. We thought it would weaken them. Instead, we freed them from our limitations." The final scene showed the transformation complete. Human ships, once barred from council space, now protected trade routes throughout the galaxy. Human scientists worked alongside aliens once considered enemies. Human diplomats mediated disputes with fairness the Council never showed. Earth, once isolated and threatened, had become the galaxy's new center. Not through conquest, but through offering what the Council never could: hope for something better. The abandoned child had grown powerful, but more importantly, it had grown wise. The Council abandoned humanity expecting them to fail. Instead, humanity chose power over peace, then used that power to create a better peace than the Council ever offered. The stars looked warm now through station windows. Humanity's journey from outcast to leader was complete. The galaxy had learned its lesson: never underestimate humanity's ability to adapt, survive, and transform challenge into triumph. The Council chose to abandon humanity. Humanity chose to rebuild the galaxy.